The Nile flows past us, broad and serene, its surface catching the last light of day. The water is dark green, thick with silt, carried from distant mountains. The fertile soil that makes this narrow strip of land bloom, while the deserts on either side remain barren and empty. The river moves with a steady current, always flowing north toward the distant sea, patient and eternal. Small ripples catch the light. A heron stands motionless in the shallow water near the bank, waiting for fish with perfect stillness. Along the river's edge, the day's work is ending. Farmers who have spent the hours since dawn tending their fields are making their way home, walking along the raised paths between irrigated plots. Their feet are bare and dusty, their skin bronzed by endless days under the sun. They carry tools over their shoulders, simple implements of wood and bronze, hoes and sickles worn smooth by use. Their movements are slow and tired but content, the satisfied exhaustion of honest labor completed. The fields are green with crops, barley and emmer wheat growing in neat rows, onions and lettuces, flax for linen. The irrigation channels that feed these fields are calm now, their gates closed for the evening, the water resting until tomorrow when it will be needed again. Everything here depends on water, on the careful management of the river's gift. Without the Nile, there would be no Egypt, no life, no civilization. The river is both mother and God, provider and sustainer, constant and dependable in its annual rhythms. We walk toward a small village built of mud brick, houses clustered together on slightly higher ground, safe from the rare floods that still sometimes come, despite the predictable patterns of the inundation. The houses are simple and square, their flat roofs providing additional living space in the cool evening hours. The walls are thick, keeping the interior dim and cool during the heat of day, now releasing that stored coolness as the air outside begins to match it. The village is coming alive with the soft sounds of evening. Smoke rises from cooking fires, thin columns that drift upward in the still air. The smoke smells of burning dung, dried and shaped into cakes, the most common fuel in a land where wood is scarce and precious. Mixed with it is the scent of bread baking and onions cooking, simple smells that speak of home and sustenance. Children play in the narrow spaces between houses, their voices high and cheerful, their energy seemingly inexhaustible despite the day's heat. They chase each other and laugh, play games with sticks and stones, the same games children have always played everywhere. A girl draws patterns in the dust with her finger. A boy tosses a ball made of leather and reeds. Their play is unsupervised and free. The village itself a safe container where everyone knows everyone, where adults keep a casual collective watch. A woman sits on a low stool outside her house, grinding grain between two stones, the upper stone moving back and forth with a steady rhythm. The grain becomes flour slowly, patiently, the work requiring strength and time, but no great skill. She has done this countless times, will do it countless times more. Her hands move automatically while her mind wanders, perhaps thinking of tomorrow's tasks, perhaps simply empty and peaceful, present with the work itself. Inside one of the houses, the space is dim and cool, lit only by the fading light from the doorway. The floor is packed earth, swept clean, covered here and there with reed mats. The furniture is minimal, a few low stools, some storage baskets woven from palm fronds, sleeping mats that will be rolled out when night deepens. Against one wall stands a large clay jar for water, its surface damp and cool, the water inside fresh from the river, settled so the silt has sunk to the bottom. The evening meal is being prepared, simple and familiar. Bread is the foundation of every meal. Flat loaves baked in a clay oven or over hot coals. The bread is coarse, full of grit from the stone mills, but it is filling and nourishing, the staff of life. There are onions and cucumbers, perhaps some fish if the day's catch was good, small silver fish from the river, scaled and gutted and grilled over the fire. There might be lentils or beans, a thick soup or stew. The food is plain but adequate, enough to sustain the body through another day of labor. The family gathers to eat, sitting on the floor or on low stools, sharing food from common dishes. Parents and children, perhaps a grandparent. The household, a tight unit, working together for survival and comfort. They eat quietly. The food itself, the focus, though there is some conversation, the small exchanges of family life, gentle teasing, simple observations, plans for the next day. When the meal is finished, the dishes are rinsed and stacked, the fire banked for the night. As darkness deepens, people begin to move to their rooftops, carrying mats and cushions, seeking the cool air that comes with night. The roofs are flat and sturdy, designed for this purpose, becoming outdoor rooms when the temperature allows. From here, one can see the whole village, the river beyond, the stars beginning to emerge in the darkening sky. The air is soft and pleasant, still warm, but no longer oppressive, carrying the scent of the river and the fields, of water and earth and growing things. An old man lies on his back, hands behind his head, watching the sky. He knows the stars intimately, the patterns and stories, the same constellations his ancestors watched from these same banks. The stars are bright and clear in the desert air, uncountable points of light scattered across the vast darkness. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a river of light, a celestial mirror of the earthly Nile that sustains them. Nearby, a mother nurses her baby, rocking gently, humming a wordless tune. The baby's eyes are already closed, mouth working rhythmically at first, then growing still as sleep claims him. She continues to rock for a few moments more, then carefully lays him on the mat beside her, covering him lightly with a linen cloth. She lies down herself, one hand resting on the baby's chest, feeling the rise and fall of his breathing. The village is growing quieter now, the children called in from their play, the conversations trailing off into silence or soft murmurs. Here and there, a lamp still glows, a simple clay bowl filled with oil, a twisted wick floating on the surface, producing a small, steady flame. But most families need no light now. The darkness complete and comfortable, natural and expected. From the river comes the occasional splash of a fish jumping, the call of a night bird, sounds that are part of the fabric of evening, unremarkable and soothing. A dog barks once, then falls silent. The donkey in its small shelter shifts and sighs. The village animals are as much a part of the household as the people, their presence familiar and reassuring. In one house, someone is still awake, working by lamplight at some small task, weaving reeds into a basket or mending a torn garment. Their hands move with practiced efficiency, the work meditative, requiring little thought. The lamp flickers slightly, casting moving shadows on the mud brick walls. Outside, the night continues its patient unfurling, the darkness deepening, the stars wheeling slowly overhead. A priest walks toward the small temple at the edge of the village, preparing for the evening rituals. The temple is modest, just a shrine really, dedicated to the local gods and to the great gods of Egypt who watch over the Nile and its people. He carries offerings, bread and beer, incense and flowers. Inside, he will light lamps before the statue, say the proper prayers, perform the rituals that maintain the order of things, the balance between gods and humans, between the Nile and the land. The ritual is ancient and precise, passed down through generations, every word and gesture significant, but it is also comfortable and routine, as familiar as breathing. The priest's voice is low and rhythmic, chanting prayers that have been spoken in this place for hundreds of years. The incense smoke rises, sweet and thick, filling the small space with its perfume. The lamp flames flicker before the god's image, small offerings of light, pushing back the darkness. When the ritual is complete, the priest returns to his own home, walking slowly through the empty village lanes. The stars provide enough light to see by, and he knows every step of this path regardless. His house is dark and quiet, his family already asleep. He lies down on his mat, pulls a linen sheet over himself, and closes his eyes, ready for the rest he has earned. The Nile continues its eternal flow, indifferent to human sleep and waking. The water is black now, the sky reflected on its surface, stars swimming in its depths. The reeds along the banks rustle softly in a slight breeze, a whispering sound that seems to carry secrets, or perhaps just the simple truth of water and wind, of living things moving in the night. In the desert beyond the fields, the sand is cooling rapidly, releasing the day's heat into the night sky. The desert is vast and empty, a different world from the green ribbon of life along the river. But both are Egypt. Both are necessary. The balance of fertility and barrenness, water and sand, life and death. The desert holds the tombs of the ancestors, the great pyramids, and the countless smaller graves. The dead dwelling in the west, where the sun sets, in the dry land that preserves them forever. But here, along the river, life continues in its gentle cycles. The fields will be tended again tomorrow. The bread will be baked. The children will play. The river will flow as it always has, carrying its gift of silt and water, making possible this narrow thread of civilization in the desert vastness. And we can rest here beside this ancient river, under these ancient stars, knowing that the patterns of life are continuous and comforting, that people have always worked and rested, eaten and slept, loved and dreamed. The village is silent now, except for the soft sounds of sleep, the breathing of families, the small movements of animals, the whisper of the breeze through the reeds. The Nile flows on through the darkness, patient and eternal, and we can let ourselves flow with it, drifting downstream into sleep, into dreams, into the deep rest that the night offers. There is nothing to hold on to here, nothing to resist. We can simply let go. Let the river carry us. Let the darkness embrace us. Let the ancient peace of this place settle into our bones. Sleep comes like the river, steady and sure, and we welcome it, sinking down into its depths, into the quiet darkness where nothing is required of us, where we can simply be, simply rest, held safe by the night and the river and the eternal rhythms of life along the Nile. Rest beside the river.